Okay, let's know first whom are we talking with today. Hello everyone, good morning or good evening or good night, depending on where you will be watching us from. You have actually more than what it takes to see to it that you are actually on the right track of what you were called to do. But most of us may never know what it is that they have because of the position that others have decided to put to them. This conditioning so far is the conditioning because of something we call fear, and some are conditioned because of the trauma they did not manage to treat or get healed of. We have many people in the society that we live in today that have become actually a baggage, they have become a problem. They have become a problem because these people needed society, and society did not attend to them. And if they did attend to them, society judged them, misunderstood why they did what they did. Society ignored their plight for too long, and it reached a point when they just turn into something else. They behave like the animals, or even worse than animals. We have created sociopaths by ignoring the plight of some people. It starts sometimes from conception to others, and sometimes it continues on to a time when it's no longer it's no longer really a problem to attend to those that are in need. From time immemorial, before we get so sophisticated and we had to fear insecurities and other things, we were our brother's keepers. We were able to do things for others without asking for anything in return. When one of us was broken, we did seek out to help. Then we evolved. Then we decided to be materialistic. Then we decided that we need a faith, a belief in something. Then we turned against each other. That was not enough. We became victims of those that we looked at in our daily lives. We became those victims not because we wanted to, but we were put there. So, today we would like to bring into the attention of the world something that concerns all of us. Some people are stressed, some people are anxious, some people are confused. Some are just too frustrated to understand where it is they have to stand. Should we be in the side that is opposing? Should we be in the side that is obeying? Or should we be in the side that follows anyone, anyhow? The people that have their own sense of direction tend to follow like anyone. But when did the rain start hitting us? Before men became spiritually intelligent, we were allowed to be careless. We were allowed to do a lot of mistakes, and we could all get away with it until we set up different systems and different cultures. Now, these systems that we set enabled man to start behaving given different rules and regulations. We needed to have some orderliness. But for man to have orderliness, they needed to know that there's something that can deal with them in case they don't behave. Then man set up a set of beliefs and made it a way of life. This organized set of beliefs, we later on branded them, and some people it was simply a culture because it was a normal way of life, and some people it was spiritual intelligence as they evolved and they even branded this their way of life. When we didn't have names for what kind of things we did and the way we did, so many years ago, we had something called ma'at, whereby there were guidelines of the things that man should not do. And if they did, it came with consequences. And when you had a position of leadership, unlike today, where people in leadership are the biggest scammers, people in leadership just cheat like as if it's nothing. We noticed that ever since man was given responsibility by an organized way of getting them responsible, that is when they started messing. But when we didn't have to elect someone to actually be our guide, there was no need to do things in a corrupt way because we, in different places of the world, we had a council of people that were called the wise men. In some communities, they were supposed to be the elders, and in other communities, they were just a few more intelligent people. In history of the human involvement, we noticed that we became more sophisticated and we needed to write them down. That's why we put it down on stone so that we don't forget what it is we vowed to do. Now, those stones, we didn't have a very much develop, we can't say develop, it was already sophisticated because when we use those symbols like a bird, fish, a star, and many other little things, it meant something to those people. But for others who came later, it meant nothing to them, so they tried to destroy what they didn't understand. And others became more clever and decided they're going to change it into their own advantage. So when you look at Sumeria, when you look at the civilization the Phoenician civilization, when you go down to Egypt, when you go to the ancient America, and sometimes also in some parts of Asia, you find a lot of sophistication, and those were privileged to a few because some information sometimes gets dangerous in the hands of other people. Why? Uh, like a scientist that discovered the atomic bomb later on in our own civilization had to stop in between and say, if I continue with this, it will be very destructive if it's found in the hands of the wrong man, and he had to stop. But people came, pick it up from where he had stopped, and there we formed the first atomic bomb, which actually destroyed humanity. We have different explanations on how we came to be, based on the set of beliefs that our forefathers, or rather our ancestors, used to explain the mysteries of our existence. The higher self in you has to connect with the higher mind or a higher being for you to feel either responsible, organized, or calm. Some people don't need any of that because there's nothing between their brain, but others, they use a lot of thinking and ask questions and they get answers to it. Nowadays, we call those people scientists. Some will study culture, some will study the way we communicate, the way our languages evolve. Some will study how volcanoes happen, how when they happen, and the dangers that are, so that they can warn others, and uh, all those kind of knowledge. And some will study even a different people. That is why we have Egyptologists. They are always there in Egypt trying to find out how did our ancestors, our forefathers, how did they manage to live, looking at how things were in those days. And that's where we will be starting from in the introduction of our deeper subject today, the getting out. This is a transformation that is meant for people that have gone through diverse pain. Pain, not only physical but also psychological. They have been controlled by other people. So we'll be taking a 15 minutes break so that you get yourself a pen and paper, and we will continue with the rest of the meeting. You can comment if you are reaching us from YouTube. You can comment. If you are reaching us from Facebook, you can also comment. And if there are questions, you will leave them there and we'll get to respond to those questions later. This is your coach, your guide, Emily from Gogan Seaworld, courtesy Mastermind Programs. See you in a while.